Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, no doubt these are stressful, very stressful, and indeed sobering times. And having been raised in a family that talked a great deal about the Depression, I'm concerned. We have two members of our council tonight attending a conference in Washington. I believe it's the National League of Cities. And I hope they will come back, and I hope they're concerned about what they hear. According to the National League of Cities, 92% of U.S. cities are having trouble paying for basic services. 92%. And we are one of them. And as hard it is to believe, but there are cities and towns in this country that have gone broke. And when I read about these, we all know that's not going to happen here. At least we hope so. And I think it's prudent on our part that everything we do that deals with a budget is grounded in fiscal discipline. And I don't see fiscal discipline in this proposed ordinance tonight. Now, I keep reading that Councilmember Borgen lined up support for this bill 6-7 weeks ago, which is fine. That's the political process. No problem with that. But let me give you a few statistics that have happened since many of you signed on. Our January 2009 sales tax revenues were down 10.3%. We're very slow in the city and in the state getting our sales tax revenues, so we just actually received them several weeks ago. Again, before people signed on to this bill, down 10.3%. Now, quite simply, that means if these downward projections continue, they're going to be on top of a $56 million budget shortfall. So the shortfall is going to increase. In a letter dated March 6th, the mayor sent to all city employees, he mandated a furlough day, which will be held a week from Friday. He did that to save $1 million and to avoid layoffs. I understand that. But I hope my colleagues understand that this will probably not be the last furlough day we face in this city. And that furlough day applies to 10,000 city employees. Again, that's no money for 10,000 employees. Thursday, the Denver Post reported that the mayor had laid off 11 deputy sheriffs. And the headline is right here. Police and fire fear job cuts. So I asked you, if you're a Denver firefighter, a Denver police officer, a Denver sheriff, if you see this headline, what are you thinking about the mixed messages we are hearing about the financial health of this city? We just heard Councilwoman Borgen saying that we're in really pretty good shape. In fact, she was quoted in the paper saying that very thing. Well, if we're in good shape, why are we asking police and fire and sheriffs to take a salary cut? why are we having mandatory furloughs? Again, mixed messages. In the Saturday Denver Post, the headline was "State Stung by Tax Fall-Offs." The Denver Post reported that the state sales taxes and excise taxes had dropped, and get this, 19% last month. That's in February. Quote, as the deepening recession took a toll on Colorado's already shaky finances. And another sentence in this story, it was the biggest percentage drop since the downturn in the economy began, and was actually worse than the economist had forecast. This is not good news. Sales tax revenues down for our city 10% in January, our worst month ever, and who knows, in January, and who knows what February is going to be. We got the first of mandatory furlough days for 10,000 city employees, and more, I believe, are coming. 11 deputy sheriffs laid off, and police and firefighters concerned about their jobs, and a 19% plunge in state revenues for last month. So this is the atmosphere in which we, in my judgment, are raiding our contingency reserves. And it bothers me. It bothers me very much because I do not believe this raid is grounded in fiscal discipline. Now, my friend Councilman Garcia correctly pointed out that as elected officials, we have to make tough choices. And he's absolutely right. But in the midst of a huge financial crisis, which it's not just us, it's not just our country, it's the world. In the midst of this financial crisis, I think we need to respond with two things. We have to have the compassion to care, and perhaps more importantly now, we also need the toughness to govern. The toughness to govern. And so that's why I'm going to be an advocate for the toughness to govern tonight and vote against this raid on our contingency reserves. Thank you, Madam President.